If you are creating value for your customer and really understanding what makes sense for them and how you can assist with them making their own decisions, that will be financially beneficial.
Welcome to The Move-In, a senior living marketing podcast from Unlock Health, a full-service marketing partner for the aging services industry. Join us for candid conversations exploring the latest marketing strategies with the senior living community leaders and innovative solution partners who are moving our industry forward. Together, we'll build a community to build better communities. Here is our first of many interviews we hosted while at Smash. In this interview, the one and only Christy Van Der Westhuizen, the SVP of Sales and Marketing at Legend Senior Living, joined us for a conversation. Christy is known throughout the senior living community as a true sales powerhouse. With her infectious enthusiasm, unique personal brand, and wealth of knowledge, she has become a trusted advisor and mentor to many. In this conversation, we discussed the power of vulnerability and transparency in sales, the role of artificial intelligence and technology in streamlining the sales and marketing process, and the importance of collaboration between marketing and sales teams. All right, let's jump into the conversation. All right, we are on the move in senior living, specifically senior living sales today. And I have the foremost expert, Christy Van Der Westhuizen.
Perfect.
I always get nervous. If there's a microphone in front of my face, I will say your name fine every other time. So I apologize. Christy Van Der Westhuizen. And you know, she's a big fan of sales when she has "I love sales" on the shirt, and you're rocking the Twinkle Tuesday. I mean, you're committed. I've already taken off my Twinkle Tuesday jacket for the time being.
Oh, I'm committed for 24 hours.
I love it. I think you might just continue through the week.
I think I should. And by the way, I'm known as Christy VDW.
VDW.
A lot of people that have been in my life for a very long time,
That's
or
awesome.
VDW.
I like it. Please get it. I think we talked about this before. You need a grill or a necklace of some sort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm very proudly married to a South African man.
Yeah.
And in South Africa, it is a last name as common as Smith. It really is.
Yeah.
So coming here to the United States, and he's had this wonderful name, and we're like, you know what? We are going to rock that last name.
I love it.
16 letters.
Go for it, because as someone with the last name Williams, boring, you know, like my wife's maiden name was Royal. And she's like, I went from being a Royal to another Williams. And I always felt bad for her. So no, I love the last name beyond your personality. Yeah. Your expert advice, it makes you stand out even more.
No, I'm Christy with the long last name.
Christy.
So I don't think there's very many of us.
Can that be your LinkedIn profile, Christy with the long last name?
It should. Yeah. I do have iHeart Sales as my job. So, you know.
And that's awesome. So one thing I've learned, it's funny how this is already in the podcast, but you have the heart, you know, I love. So I'm careful, like when I tag you on things, so it doesn't look like I love Christy. You know, like I'm always cautious of that.
Yes.
Like, I love your personality in your LinkedIn.
Thank
you. And everybody knows you as an influencer, like it or not. I've heard that associated with you many times. We have gotten to know each other like for the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. I told you before, you're my Jiminy Cricket. You're kind of my conscience when it comes to all things senior living. And I appreciate the advice. We met each other at Argenum in New Orleans.
Right.
And so you kind of became someone I would go to for advice, and that continues on to today. We, you know, get to see at the conferences. We hosted a lunch last year, which you provided some great advice along with others. And again, yesterday, another great lunch, a lot of experts in the room. And so it's amazing with this group, man, it's just, you feel like you're standing on the shoulder of giants, and everybody's so willing to share. And so thank you for being a part of cultivating that willingness to just be a community.
Thank you. It really is. This industry is one of the most special industries, I think, out there. So just last week on LinkedIn, I posted, and it was because of someone had mentioned something about Smash, and they're a mystery shopping company, and these are the 4 biggest mistakes that most salespeople make.
Yeah.
And that sparked something in me where I'm like, you know what? It's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'm going to list the 4 mistakes that I made early on in my career.
Yes.
I kid you not, there's like 60 or 70 people chimed in on the conversation of things. And I think I called it like things you wish you could tell your former sales self or something, or your early sales career. And there were a lot of comments about vulnerability and transparency and just feeling like, you know what, we have made mistakes and we are still here 16 years later in the industry. And just because you've made mistakes in the past or maybe you're making them today, that's fine.
We could be, but, but I think as we get older, we say that like, I'm going to try my best. I could be making a mistake, but I'll either win or learn. Yeah. And so we continue to learn, but I appreciate that vulnerability because far too often, like that vulnerability begets more vulnerability. And then it pulls people in to be willing to share because then you're like, I'm just a person with these human emotions and human experiences. And that's how we improve. It's just seeing how others have won or lost and how they improve. Yeah. So when we think about all of that, that context with this conference, I'm just curious, after a day and a half, what are some of the key things that you've heard that you're like, dude, that's exciting? Oh,
artificial intelligence. Yes. And the different ways to use it. So I'm guilty. I use ChatGPT to do things and my eyes have been open to not just ChatGPT now. Yeah. There are so many other tools that can help us with sales and marketing, of course, but data analysis and just so many other uses that I didn't really think about. And again, I'm not even talking about ChatGPT. That's awesome. And that's like AI for me, that's like AI 1.0. I'm learning about AI 2.0 and 3.0 at the conference. So I am really looking forward at digging in and figuring out, okay, what AI resources can we utilize to help our sales and marketing teams be more efficient, spend more time on the things that they love to do, which usually is not the manual things
plugging in data.
Right. Yeah. Logging things in the database. I don't know about you, but that's probably most salespeople's least favorite thing on this planet. Yes. Is to like, they loved doing the things, but then they have to log it later. So maybe there's some tools. Yes. So I'm really learning about just, again, innovations from other senior living folks, but also one of the things that makes Smash so great is that they bring in non-senior living experts in their fields, whether it's marketing or whether it's technology or so many other people that are not just senior living or they're not senior living, and bring in ideas from outside experts into the senior living industry. And that's my favorite part about Smash. It always has been, always will be. Oh, but besides, I do love the connection that we all make. Okay, that's my second very close favorite. But I really like learning about other industries and what they're doing to hopefully push us along a little bit faster.
Absolutely. Yeah. It kind of gives you somewhat of a roadmap. So, okay, like you can get here. These are the steps you need to take. Right. And going back to on the artificial intelligence, I think far too often it's like, ooh, scary. We think about robots and all the scary side. But if you really break that down into the different types of AI, that's not so bad. Like it's not near as scary. And these, these services, and AI can make us more human-like, which I think that's the key is like taking those tasks away so you don't feel like through the sales process, we don't want anybody to feel like they're another task. No. And so it's far too often we get caught up in that. But if we can really let, technology handle some of that heavy lifting, and then we can connect on a human level, that's a huge win.
Right. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to just really digging in on artificial intelligence and figuring out, okay, how can we utilize that in the best way possible? Again, so sales teams can really get back to doing what they love to do, which is the connections and all of those things that make them really special people and why I truly love sales.
Well, and think about like the excitement and the enthusiasm. And that spreads through the communities they serve, the people they're speaking with. And so if you can have that excitement, it will show.
And so if you have that positive culture, it will like be spread throughout, everyone that come in contact with. And
Right.
so as a sales leader, how do you maintain that excitement, and how do you spread that excitement, through your team after coming to a great conference
Yeah.
where you're around a lot of great thought leaders and you're walking away with a high of connecting with incredible people with great ideas? How do you pass along those ideas and that enthusiasm?
Well, number one, sales is the transfer of enthusiasm from the seller to the buyer.
Yeah. Love it.
And I also think about my role as a sales leader. We have 62 communities at Legend. All 62 of those communities, I kind of consider they're my clients.
Yeah.
And it is my job to infuse that enthusiasm that I'm learning and I'm building and learning different techniques about to them.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of regular Zoom training where all sales directors get on, and I typically don't like to make it super boring. I like to make it fun.
I've been to many of your presentations. I've never seen Christy and boring mix ever.
That is just not my cup of tea.
No.
I'm sure there are some people who love that, and maybe I'm a little too much, but maybe those aren't my people.
They're probably
right?
not salespeople.
They're not my people. So we do things like anytime we do a sales training on Zoom, there's music playing when they arrive.
Yeah.
Right. And usually it's like pump up really cool music, like
And thank you
Cool
for
in the
that.
Gang, or
I've always thought it'd be good, like when we speak at conferences, to have
yes,
walk-up music.
I know.
We need more music as people walk in the room.
Yes.
We need walk-up music. So I'm glad you're incorporating that in some of your
Yes.
sales training.
So it's not really walk up music
Yeah.
in Zoom. It's just, hey, you join and then it's really cool. So I'll watch people get on and they'll turn their cameras on and their heads will kind of like bob. And I'm
There you
like,
go.
yep, you're in the right mindset.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we also do a ton of fun trivia after there's been some kind of learning or learning objective. A lot of times we'll do some trivia, and I use a tool called crowdper.com.
Okay.
And there's a lot of different online trivia tools that people can use, but that's one that was introduced to me probably 5 years ago, and I still love it to this day. You can do real live trivia with people utilizing their own cell phones, and we'll have the leaderboard up on the screen. And so we're making comments like, oh, Nicole's in the lead. Oh my gosh, who's going to knock Nicole off the top spot?
Yeah.
And so we'll utilize the things that we learned in those trivia questions. So it's just one other multimedia way to make sure that the training or whatever the message was sticks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, I think there's so many different learning styles and there's so many different ways for me to transfer enthusiasm to anyone.
Yeah.
It can be via text. It can be via email. It can be a video, which I do love. It could be with a handwritten note, Zoom meetings. I mean, you want people to feel, well, number one, feel appreciated and seen and heard and loved if you're a sales team member. But isn't that what we want prospects and families to feel also?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I talk about, 62 communities, and I kind of think of them as they're my clients. What do they need in order to be successful? My goal is that these 62 communities are taking that and going, okay, how she is treating me, hopefully, is how I want to treat prospects and families. So
you pass that emotion on, and everything you're speaking of is that shared human experience.
Yes.
And that's what we all really seek. And I had a conversation with someone about 2 weeks ago about conferences, how they've, evolved from, the pre-COVID to post-COVID. And I remember going through COVID, like conferences is going to be a hybrid or it's going to be virtual. I think it's gone more human. People, I think we as humans want to have that shared experience and have that connection. And so for you to have that on the sales training, and I do think that goes to, potential residents and people that they're reaching out to, family members. You have to have that enthusiasm for what you're connecting with. And so that kind of leads me to a question I've always wanted to ask you. I want to learn right here.
Here we go.
So how do you balance the emotional aspects of senior living sales with the need to meet business and sales goals? And like that's something that it's a challenge because you never want anybody to feel rushed. You never want anybody to feel pressured. And I know you get into the marketing side of that as well because you need leads coming in. So there isn't that pressure, but how do you find that balance? And what's your advice on that from it?
Ooh, so my favorite book is Go Givers Sell More by Bob Berg.
Okay.
And it really talks about you want more financial success. You want more influence. You want more anything. Number one, appreciate more, period. And your job is to create value for anyone. And so having those two things, I mean, it is a balance, of course, but if you are creating value for your customer and really understanding what makes sense for them and how you can assist with them making their own decisions, not strong arming or twisting arms or giving, salespeople a bad name, that will be financially beneficial.
Yes, absolutely.
It is not, though, you don't do those things to be more to get more financial gain.
Sure.
You do it because it's the right thing to do.
Sell. You do it because you're exploring the fit that exists. And if you know that this is a good move, you explain that to them.
Yeah.
And so like you're just connecting the dots and helping and providing peace of mind through that journey.
Right. So you don't do things in order for financial gain. You do things to move the sales process forward if it makes sense for them because it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. How do you advise groups to be the first one to say, this is probably not a good fit in terms of sales? Just say like, hey, listen to your heart, like look at all the metrics and just shoot straight with them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we get to be a trusted resource and a guide. We actually
That's
at Legend wrote
responsibility too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We wrote a sales philosophy. And we actually printed it out and had it framed, and it sits on every single sales person's desk to remind them of the why and the what we do.
That's great.
And we are sense makers. We're solution finders. And if we are not the right fit, it is okay to say that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually expect that.
You need to.
Right.
That's part of it.
Right.
Is to really, again, going to exploring that fit and being the first one to say, this might not, you might want to look at these other options.
There have been times in the past where maybe we weren't a really good fit. And I said that early on in the sales process with a prospect. This was when I was a sales director. That kind of guidance that they received actually comes back tenfold.
It does.
Because what they'll do is maybe we weren't the right fit for that specific person or family member, but because we treated them so kindly and warmly and had their best interests at heart, that's when that the 250 people that are their sphere of influence, that's when those people get to hear about what a great resource you are.
Yeah.
Maybe not a fit for that specific person, but you as a resource, you as creating value, you as a good person.
Absolutely.
To me, that creates a lot more value in everyone else's life than just getting the move in.
And it's not even like that measurable. It's like just putting that good karma and just like you said, when it comes out, it's being just a good resource. I think a good sales movie that nobody ever says it's a sales movie, Miracle on 34th Street.
Ooh.
I know it sounds crazy, but I always think about that, like, which is just be honest with somebody, like, sure you've seen it with Santa Claus, saying like where to go. Far too often, like there's times that we'll say like, tell you what, this is the better fit. And it comes full circle somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But you have to have that abundance mindset, but you have to have the right leadership as well to be willing to say that.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. So very early on in my career, it was probably my first week or two on the job 16 years ago as a sales director. I worked with another sales director who was very tenured, and she had someone drop off a cake for her.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, tell me more about this cake. And is this from like a new resident or a new resident's family? She said, no, it was actually from someone that I helped find another place to move to. But she just wanted to say thank you.
That's really great.
And I think if I hadn't had that experience early on in my sales career, specifically senior living sales, I don't think I would have really understood the value and the importance of, if we're not the right fit, it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
And it's okay to help them find the right fit.
Absolutely.
because it's the right thing to do.
It's when nothing succeeds like the truth. Like
I know.
it's always, if it's right, just always do the right thing.
Yep. Even if no one's watching.
Well, there is a previous boss of mine who'd always say, always do the right thing. Always. And that always, that stays with me to this day, which is just when it's all said and done, just do the right thing.
Right.
When it comes to the marketing side, do you have any advice how marketing and sales can work together to build better collaboration? Because I know I've spoke with Jesse and Brandon about this earlier.
Yeah.
And far too often, these groups can be antagonistic far too often when they shouldn't be. But what's your advice to groups trying to really merge the sales and marketing efforts to really win when it's all said and done?
Appreciate more.
I love that. Yes.
To go back on my original comment, appreciate more, communicate more.
Yeah.
And really figure out what your goals are as a department, a sales and marketing department. And yes, sales plays a role and marketing plays a role, but really aligning what those goals look like and feel like and what the tactics are and the strategies are behind them. Yeah. To me, that creates a really cohesive...
Start with the end and, what that end is, work your way back. Let's make sure we're unified on that vision.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're in marketing and I'm in sales and we have very different goals, that's going to not align to either of us achieving our goals, probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we need to win together as a group. So it's not... That's what Jesse said, just, put your ego to the side. And I thought that was such a great response. It's like we're winning as a team.
They are awesome people, by the way.
Yes.
We have this just really great senior living group of friends and resources and sometimes therapists. I mean, that we're all just really open and honest with things that are challenging or things that are working. And Jesse and Brandon are two of my favorites.
Top tier.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Wow, I could speak with you all day. But I think networking time is about to pick up according to the noise. So we probably need to wrap this up. Christy, do you have any parting advice for anybody in senior living sales? I know we've covered a lot of ground, but what's that move? The microphone is yours. What's your thoughts? And it could be anything you want to share.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Just because you may not be the most outspoken or enthusiastic person or, you can still be extremely successful in sales just by being yourself and being authentic, not perfect. And I think that if I could go back and tell myself one thing in the very beginning of my sales career, I would say it's okay to make mistakes. Yeah. Just as long as you learn from them. Yeah. But by being who I am, which is sparkly and loud and outgoing, that has served me well. But even if you're not, that doesn't mean that you can't be successful. You absolutely can be, but it's just being authentically you and not trying to be someone that you're not. And that's just life advice.
Absolutely.
But in sales, if you put on a facade, our prospects and families, well, number one, they can smell it a mile away. Yes. And number two, they deserve better.
That's such great advice. And thank you for ending on that. I always ask everybody, where can they find you? I'm going to tell everybody right now, you can find Christy on LinkedIn.
That's right.
Great advice. Incredible post. We were speaking earlier, she's considered an influencer. If you find her on LinkedIn, you'll find out why. So, Christy, thank you so much for all that you do for this community.
Thank you, Larry. It's been a pleasure.
All right. We'll see you around this afternoon.
All right.
See ya. I always joke around with Christy and tell her that she is my Jiminy Cricket of senior living. She has always provided a guiding light for me in this business, and through that conversation, you can see why. Here are 3 notes that I made during this conversation. First, incorporate more interactive and engaging elements into sales team training sessions. Christy uses techniques like playing music, hosting trivia, and creating a fun, energetic atmosphere during her sales team training. This helps keeps the team motivated and the information memorable. Second, foster a culture of vulnerability and transparency within the sales team. Christy detailed the importance of being open about mistakes and learning experiences. Sales leaders should encourage their teams to share their challenges and learnings, creating an environment where vulnerability is valued and seen as a path to improvement. And finally, facilitate better collaboration and alignment between sales and marketing teams. Sales and marketing need to have shared goals and strategies. Sales leaders should work closely with their marketing counterparts to align on objectives, communicate regularly, and create
and create a unified vision for the organization. Thanks to Christy for sitting down with us and sharing her insights. Now let's go make some meaningful connections.
Thank you for listening to The Move in Healthcare Growth. Add your voice to the conversation. Email the show at themove@unlockhealthnow.com. Follow us on social media and stay up to date at unlockhealthnow.com. Also, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode.